Hello and welcome to the Gameweek 28 edition of the FPL Scope podcast. I am one of your hosts, Mathias, and with me today I only have one co-host, and that is Kimo. Kevin is sadly struggling with a sore throat at the moment, so he's not available for our podcast, but we wish him well and hope that he recovers. He's probably back for next week when there's an international break anyway, but we'll still have a podcast next week, I think, if everyone's up for it. Anyways, I'm here with Kimo, like I said, and I want to hear what Kimo thinks about the whole Solly March situation, because he scored a goal against Leeds, but then the goal was credited as an own goal for Harrison, and then a couple of days later, after his FPL points were removed, March got credited with the goal, but he didn't get any FPL points from it. And there's been a huge uproar in the FPL community. I'm personally a March owner, but I'm sort of like, I don't really care. It's the rules, whatever. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts, Kimo, because this is a huge issue or huge thing in the FPL community at the moment. So what do you think about the whole Solly March situation?
I don't believe that you don't care, actually. I don't believe it. If I were an owner, I think I would be devastated. It's a goal and bonus and stuff like this. But yeah, I think it's too late now. It's like almost 2 or 3 days has gone since the weekend. So I think it's too late to think about it. Just think for the next games and so on. But it's devastating. It happened before, I think. So many similar incidents, and I think the one that it was similar for me, the goal that Macaulay scored and in a header, it was
Throwback, West Bromwich.
Yeah, it was Bromwich against, I don't remember the team, but it's a pretty famous, like 6 years ago, a pretty famous incident. I had him at that game. It was 1-1, I think. So yeah, it was devastating, but yeah, life moves on, and then probably get a goal or something tonight.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe we'll see.
The keeper of Palace, he's born in 2004, so he's only 19. So.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see. But yeah, like you mentioned, it's gonna be interesting to see the games. You're obviously watching this podcast after the games have been played, but we're recording this right before the games are about to start. It's about 10 minutes until Brentford and Brighton play their second game of the double game week fixtures, so that's gonna be interesting. To your point of me caring about March, I normally would in a normal season, but this season has gone so badly anyway, and I'm so used to being screwed over. So I'm at the point where I'm just like, whatever. My season is terrible anyway. I just want to give helpful. I just want to give helpful tips. Really, that's my aim for now, and I'm pretty happy with the last few game weeks because we're going to see that with my weekly wildcard drafts that I had.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. We've had a lot of good tips. It's just that we don't follow our own tips.
No, but my team has been improving in the last 2 game weeks. So I think Chilwell, but we'll come back to that.
Yeah, we can actually just move straight into that because we're going to go to your team. You made 2 transfers. One of them was bringing in McAllister, which was great, but you didn't captain them though. You went with Toney. We'll see what happens with that. You guys watching obviously know already who came out on top of that, but what went into your decisions in terms of transfers and captaincy this week?
No, I think I wrote to you on WhatsApp before I do the transfers. I was thinking either to bring Chilwell, which I talked about the last episode. When I saw that game in the Champions League, I thought I have to turn off the notification for Palace and Brighton because I'm watching the game. But when I saw Chilwell in the Champions League game, I thought he's on fire. He's gonna score, and it's very typical that he's gonna score against his former team, Leicester City. So I wrote to you on WhatsApp, I'm torn between benching Felix and buying Chilwell and playing him over Felix, or doing Andreas to McAllister for -4. And I felt like McAllister will score. The stats was unbelievably. He just had to score.
Yeah.
He was the second highest midfielder in the expected goals involvement in the Premier League in the last 4 game weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that. He was pretty popular, so many people have picked him and so on. But I was not convinced with Marsh at all. So I did that. He scored 7 points, same as Chilwell. So I don't regret it. Captaincy, though, I was not convinced, and I said it the last game week.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that Toney will score in a away game. I don't think that Brentford will keep a clean sheet. That's why I never had a defender from Brentford. But the same goes for Estupinian, which is my second transfer. But for me, selling Andreas and Bueno was really, it felt so natural.
Yeah.
They had to get out of my team. So other than that, watching the Arsenal game was so painful watching Martinelli and Odegaard scoring. Me as a Saka owner, it was just like so painful. He didn't do that much, actually, to be honest. He didn't deserve that much.
Yeah.
Good to have a Arsenal clean sheet. Otherwise, it's a balance, without having Odegaard and Martinelli. So having like a clean sheet from Zinchenko is like something really nice. Yeah. So yeah. I think it's fair. 44 points. But the Tarkovsky 8 points on the bench. Oh, so painful.
Yeah.
It had to happen. It had to have like someone from the bench saying "fuck you" to one of the double game week players. And I think it's gonna be Estupinian, who's losing a clean sheet tonight. Zaha goal. I think so.
Maybe it would be typical of Salah to score against Brighton, but who knows? Brighton are the better team by far at the moment. I think Brighton is like probably. It might be the best team currently in the Premier League in terms of form, and Crystal Palace are the total opposite. They haven't won in 10 games in a row, and they're really struggling. But these games have their own lives, and yeah, it's probably going to end 1-1, but you guys watching already know, so no point in discussing that, really. But yeah, let's move on to my team. You mentioned bench scoring, and I have Gabriel on the bench with 14 points. It is very painful, especially considering I've had so much faith in Gabriel this whole season. Played him every week, and he has rewarded me with a goal earlier in the season. Got me a 15-pointer 10-12 game weeks ago or something, and he's been generally a really good player for me. It's just getting that goal and clean sheet and the 14 points. It kind of stinks to have him on the bench, but
I also gave a shout out to Kane last week, and I had a feeling that he was the right decision. So
yeah, so you didn't have Kane either, and you're going to rectify that. I know in your plans. We're going to get to that later, but Kane scored 2 goals, really good. That's what you expect from Kane. Really, he blanks sometimes, but he's usually really consistent with scoring goals.
But why didn't you play Gabriel over Henry?
Because Henry had a double game week. It's the old double game week trap. Everton away and Southampton away. I felt like Gabriel, he's going to get a clean sheet, and that's that. He's going to get like 6 or 9 points, most likely, at the most.
You never saw a goal coming from a header, no.
It could happen, but it hasn't happened that much. It happened one time this whole season before then, I think. He only has one league goal before the goal he had now, and he's played every game, so you can't really expect a goal from a corner, I think. But Henry as well had a huge chance. He could have scored as well against Everton. He had an open header at the back post, but he had it straight onto Pickford, so he could have easily scored a goal, and then they also could have kept the clean sheet even, because Everton aren't that good in terms of creating chances and scoring goals. So I just figured he had 2 really easy games compared to Gabriel's 1 easy game. So that's why I went with Henry. But we'll see what happens with Henry and Estupinian. But anyways, I was really happy with Martinelli because I actually got to play him because I had faith in him. I had faith in him the week before, and
you told me.
And he didn't perform as my captain last week, but I say I'm happy with 8 points, but he could have had so much more. Like, he had so many chances, and he was instrumental in everything Arsenal did in that game against Fulham. And he should have had at least 1, maybe 2 more goals, and he should have had an assist for Trossard as well. Trossard shot out wide. But it's true. He should have had way more points. I'm happy I had the points. I'm one of the few people that didn't bench him. I benched Maddison instead. Saying that, Maddison as well could have also had a lot of points. And yeah. He's going to score a lot of points eventually as well. I've talked about this in other videos this week. So let's just move on. We still have Kevin's team to discuss, even though Kevin is not here to discuss it himself. Kevin did the wildcard, and he went without Haaland. Haaland scored 1 goal. Fair enough. He kind of survived. Lucky for him that he scored the 1 goal in that match and not the 5 goals that he scored in the Champions League.
but it was so important, bro. Both for City and for the ones who kept him. I think so.
Yeah, it was a huge goal for everyone in terms for Haaland. But anyways, this is Kevin's wildcard team. I don't know if you have any comments. He benched Chilwell. You said he should start Chilwell, so I guess you could start there. But what do you think of Kevin's wildcard decisions and his team?
Almost begged him before the game, start Chilwell over Trippier or over Henry, but he didn't listen.
Yeah. Trippier as well, I should mention. I have him in my team as well, and he could have had a monster haul as well, but he made a massive mistake himself and slipped and gave away a goal to Wolves, so he lost his bonus points, lost his clean sheet points, and all that.
Yeah, it was disastrous.
But that's
they won at the end. It was so unnecessary. Yeah, he would have ended up with 12 points or something.
Yeah. But anyways, like you said, Chilwell could have started, but I think all the 3 defenders are decent starters as well. It's just Estupinian and Henry didn't perform in the first game. But anyways, that's Kevin's wildcard team. Also Salah, should mention as well. You have Salah still in your team as well. And he got a penalty, missed the penalty, 0 points. Tough luck, I guess. For me, I was really happy to see that. But I know some Salah owners were not that happy. But let's move on to the fixture ticker and look ahead to the next few game weeks. As you can see, the two best teams in the league currently are the two teams with the worst fixtures, but that's because they blank both in Game Week 28 and in Game Week 32. I think both you, me, and Kevin are likely going to free hit in Game Week 32 and not free hit in 28. So that might be that might change some things in terms of your thinking of this fixture ticker. But
I think after making the decision, yeah.
But yeah, speaking of the free hits, some people are free hitting in Game Week 28 as well, and I'm just gonna ask you because you have your free hit still as well. Is that a consideration for you? And if you did pull off the free hit, which players would you target in terms of the matches on the left there, Game Week 28? Which matches appeal to you? Which players appeal to you? And especially spicy picks.
I would have a punt on Solanke. I don't know why. I just have the feeling that he would do something in those two games. I would definitely have Watkins, Maddison for sure, someone from Leicester for sure. Chelsea defense, maybe Kai Havertz, maybe two defenders. I think I have a feeling that Chelsea will keep a clean sheet, like 1-0 tight, nick it, and then that's it.
Yeah, that's kind of what Chelsea have been doing lately as well, getting pretty close wins. But anyways, I think also Reece James. Would you go for him, or is it still, because it seems like he's going to be fit now? You never know with Reece James.
I think he's gonna play. I think he's gonna play. Yeah, I think he's gonna play. He needs to keep him warm for the next period. I think he's gonna play, and it's right before the international break. So yeah, he's safe.
And I think he's bound to get some points as well because they're playing with wingbacks now, and he's proven in the past that he's really good in that role in terms of FPL points as well.
What would be my punt? It would be the Tottenham right back Porro.
Okay, yeah, I've thought about that as well.
I like him a lot. I think there is some attacking returns coming out of him, and I think definitely I will buy Kane.
Yeah,
in that. Yeah,
I mean Kane is a must-have because most people have him anyway. So
and Toney if he's not suspended.
Yeah, Toney, he plays against was it Leicester? So that's a really good game in terms of scoring goals. As you can see, expected goals. Leicester actually they've been in like the bottom three for the last like 4 or 5 game weeks, but now they're just outside it. But Leicester, they can concede a lot of goals. So
would you think about Isak?
I am thinking of Isak currently in terms of everything, but it's just still on a free hit, maybe. I just think there's a lot of good striker options. I think you can go with someone like you said, Havertz is someone I'm going to talk about later. Kane, someone as well, makes a lot of sense. Toney.
3-0, 4-1.
Who?
Nottingham, 3-0, 4-1. I see something in that game. He would score.
Maybe. It's just Nottingham Forest at home is tougher than Nottingham Forest away. Or Nottingham Forest away for Newcastle is tougher than facing them at home.
Newcastle is fighting so hard.
Yeah, but Isak looked so good last game week. Like he's
so skilled.
If Callum Wilson was injured like he usually is, then Isak would be no-brainer for me. But it's just he got subbed off after 60 minutes, 70 minutes about.
So. Have you seen the Zaha chance right now?
No, I haven't actually.
You should.
The match has just started,
So dangerous, against Brighton.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the matches as well.
But Leeds and Wolves, do you think is that a good fixture to buy someone from Leeds? No?
Leeds against Wolves. I mean, our favorite player Rodrigo is back for Leeds, so he's an option. I made the case, and if you watched the Monday video I put out, the weekend walkthrough. I mentioned Jack Harrison as one of the main guys that I noticed. And I don't know. So what do you think about Harrison? I talked about him in the video. What do you think about him as a differential pick?
I like him as a player. I think he's fantastic. As an FPL option, the most common thing with him is he's so unstable. It's like scoring a brace at one game and then disappearing and then doing it again against Manchester. And then so that's why you never know what kind of game that he will score a goal for you. But the thing is about Rodrigo is he has a so good tendency to come back from an injury and score right away. So that's why if he's gonna play, if I was free hitting, I might have a punt on him.
Yeah, he's an interesting
But
option for
there's
sure.
so many options. Like, I mean, it depends on how you see how's the Arsenal versus Crystal Palace game is going to be. So if you see so many goals in that as a derby or something, then I would fill up with Martinelli and Saka or Martinelli and Odegaard.
Yeah, I'd definitely go with 3 Arsenal players as well. Probably 1 defender and 2 midfielders.
I would not touch the Aston Villa midfielders. So
No, not midfielders. But Watkins is a huge potential player as well.
Yeah.
To have that. You've talked about Watkins for so long, but
Yeah,
we still haven't brought him in.
I think I was one of the first people to talk about Watkins a month ago or something. So
yeah, and now he's the most popular pick for replacement of Haaland, and that leads us into our next segment, which is Make the Case. And the topic of Make the Case this week is it's pretty evident. It's Haaland replacements, because a lot of people are looking to sell Haaland, even though he scored 5 goals now in the Champions League, but he has 1 Premier League fixture in the next 2 game weeks, and all these guys on the screen that you see have, well, not Kane. Kane has two fixtures, but the other 2 players have 3 fixtures in the same time frame. And Kane is Kane. He's almost as good as Haaland in terms of FPL points. So yeah, the requirements here are just strikers, and not Haaland because he's the one we're selling, and not Toney because everyone has Toney already. So it would be no. I mean, a lot of people have Kane as well, but I'd let you have it because you want to make a case for Kane. You don't have him personally, and I know you're looking to bring him in. So start off with making the case for Kane. What do you prefer with him over the other players that have more fixtures than him?
I think because he scored 11 goals against Southampton and he assisted in 6. So that record alone is just amazing. Watching the Premier League games, Spurs against Southampton, I always have the flash memory of Kane scoring a brace or something. So you just hope that this is one of these days that he's going to score. I actually had a dream some days ago that he scored and Son has scored as well.
Yeah.
Because I have a friend of mine who's like calling me one of these days. Okay, I'm going for Son against Southampton, not for Kane. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I think it's been a toxic relationship between him and Conte these days, and he's not having the best days. But it might be so. But I think if Spurs go 3-1, 2-0, then Kane definitely would score. With also very high statistics in the last 4 expected goals involvement 2.3, which is I think it's the 3rd highest player in the league. So after Watkins and Haaland. So
yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
He has the stats to back it up. And when I think of Spurs against Southampton, I think of the game where Kane had like 4 assists and Son had like a hat trick of 4 goals or something. Yeah. That's what I think about. And speaking of Son and those guys as well, I think both Son and Richarlison looked really good last game against Nottingham Forest. So those are also like kind of differential spicy picks. Well, Son I've seen in most free hit teams because a lot of people just want to have a 1 week punt on Son. But I think Richarlison as well is someone that could score huge and finally get his first goal for Spurs in the Premier League as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, but Kane, I have him in my team already. I'm not going to sell him this week. I might sell him eventually. That's one of the things.
But I think it's going to be... I don't get why it's not so popular to have Kane and instead of Watkins as a natural replacement for Haaland. Because he also scored so much goals against Everton in the last 4 years especially.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of a lot of people have Kane already, so they don't really look to, because they don't need to bring him in. They already have him, so they go for Watkins instead.
Yeah.
But I think if you don't, like, I'm just going to say it right now, if you don't have Kane, I think you most likely want to get him in first before any other striker. But only thing with Kane is, or the 2 things with Kane, he does not have a double game week 29, which is sort of like a bummer when you look at like Havertz's fixtures, for example, Wolverhampton at home and Leeds away. 2 great fixtures compared to the 1 decent fixture for Kane.
Did you see that chance, sorry to interrupt you, of Crystal Palace?
They headed it just outside the post. I saw that. Yeah. Crystal Palace, it looks like they're going to score in this game, but yeah.
And by the way, I already bought Kane to my team, so that's the most confirmed transfers I've made.
Yeah. So Kane is in your team. I think there's a case to be made for Kai Havertz. I've been really impressed with Chelsea lately, and I think Havertz is also one of the main beneficiaries of the wing-back system. I think he plays really well when Chilwell and James are both playing, and James hasn't been playing when Havertz has been playing really well lately. So I think he's a great pick. He's on penalties. He plays 90 minutes pretty much every game. Like I said, the double game week fixtures in 29 look really good. And I think he's a great option. It's just, again, in terms of price and looking forward, because I want to bring Haaland back in game week 30, and I want to bring in
for that chance. Sorry about that.
I want to bring in Bruno Fernandes as well in game week 29. So money is a bit of an issue for me. So that's why even Havertz might be a bit too expensive for me. So that's why I'm sort of considering.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
That's sort of why I'm considering Kevin's suggestion of Isak. So Kevin, why do you tell us about Isak?
No, he's frozen.
He's frozen. Sorry, sorry about that. But what do you think of Isak? Since Kevin's not here to defend him, what do you think of Isak? And you mentioned him earlier in the podcast. Are you really considering him for future game weeks? Because now you brought in Kane. I don't think you're going to sell either Toney or. Well, you do have Joao Felix as well. So would you consider bringing in someone else for him, or?
If I'm not making more than -8, I'm already making 3 transfers this week. So
yeah.
Definitely I would have gone for Isak.
But for next game week, I think. What do you think for next game week?
Remember, he scored against Liverpool in the reverse fixture.
He looked so good as well against Liverpool. And now they play Liverpool at home as well, which is much easier than at Anfield.
He's a super talent. He's one of the best strikers in the league in terms of talent. I think when he gets time without injury in a team with a stable conditions, I think he would score more goals than we could imagine. And I'm already planning for the next season. He would be the first player on my team sheet, I think so. You just want him to play more often, and you want to guarantee that he's a number 1 striker. He's a starter for Newcastle as a striker and number 9 and so on. But other than that, if they have the right players to provide him with Guimaraes and Willock and what is the other Brazilian guy?
Joe Linton,
yes. And also Trippier, Almiron, everybody is providing him with so many chances.
Maximin as well.
He will explode. Yeah. Maximum. He's not having his best days recently since he came back from the injury. But yeah, I think he could potentially score in all of the 3 games. So I would definitely have loved to replace Felix, which I don't like in my team. He was so unlucky. But his minutes, remember I told you his minutes are so reduced. 60, 45. I don't know what's going on with him. I'm not even so sure if he's going to start the next game or not.
Yeah, it's really strange he was subbed off at the half last time, because I guess he missed the big chance he got, but he looked so lively and he had a goal disallowed as well. Like, he could have had so many points in FPL, but then he was subbed off at the half for some reason. But maybe because Sterling is finding his way back to fitness. Mudryk looked kind of better, so who knows about Felix. So I think you should keep an eye on for that as well, but especially for next game week with the double game week coming up. You don't want to have a Chelsea player who doesn't play both matches, and Felix might be one of those players. So either Havertz or Isak, I think, would be good moves for you next week, potentially. Or someone like Brendan Johnson as well, who's a different one. So that's the main one that is not on the screen is Ollie Watkins. He seems to be the favorite player of like the FPL community. So if you could choose between Havertz, Isak, and Watkins yourself.
I would definitely go for Isak.
Yeah? You think Isak's the best option?
Yeah, Watkins also, no, that was stupid to say, that I'd say definitely. But I think Watkins also worth a look. He scored 6 in the last 7, I think so.
Yeah.
And he also has some nice, decent fixtures. So, yeah. So if you want to go differential, if you were in like, in a bad rank like mine, I think I would go for Isak, hoping that everybody goes for Watkins and Watkins doesn't score. But yeah, it's a pretty tight, pretty close, you know. Bournemouth also are leaky, the worst defense in the league, and we've seen they had a clean sheet against Liverpool to prove us wrong. Aston Villa also scores a lot of goals against Chelsea recently. So yeah, I think having Leicester and Bournemouth, you would hope that Watkins is a correct decision. So, but if you want to be differential, I would go Isak. It depends on how are you playing your season.
So no love for Havertz. He has burned you too many times.
No, not at all. Not at all.
You have no interest at all.
Chelsea are poor in having attacking returns. And not stable. You don't have the one player that scores every game. He's good. He looks somehow sharp, but I don't trust Chelsea. Not now. Okay.
He's
the weakest.
This sounds like someone who has had Felix for the last few weeks and he has struggled.
Yeah, but what can I do? You see my last transfers. It's been way more important than replacing Felix. to prove you wrong, I had Felix on the bench
Yeah,
last week.
I saw.
Even though I didn't have the need to do a -4, but I had him in the bench. So it was
Yeah,
just a mistake, but not like against the logic because he looked so sharp in the 2 games he played. So
yeah. I think
and
I think
he scored a goal. It was cancelled last game week, and he had a ball in the post as well. So
I mean, you guys are both making me consider Isak more because I've looked at future transfers and I really need the extra 0.9
yeah,
in the bank because my team value is so bad. So I might just go with Isak, but I think Havertz is I had him in my weekly wildcard draft, which we'll look at now actually.
yeah.
I had Havertz as my final striker between Kane and Toney because I just think that he has 3 home fixtures. That's the other thing as well. They play Everton at home, Aston Villa, and Liverpool at home. So I think he's just a great pick in general. But this is my whole weekly wildcard draft, and I do this every week. I put out the video on Wednesday, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts. In the video I went through all the picks and explained why I think every pick is warranted, why I think every pick is someone you should consider. But what do you feel about this week's team, and yeah, what are your first impressions in general?
I think you mentioned right now that about cash
Justice for
that
Solly
we're not
March.
gonna have.
All I'm gonna say.
Sorry.
Justice for Solly March. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah,
Yeah,
go
yeah,
go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. Okay, but I think cash wouldn't be on my team. I don't trust Aston Villa keeping a clean sheet for the time being.
Okay.
But what do you think about Estupinian and traveling to Australia and then coming back with a few?
I mean, the same can be said for McAllister and Mitoma because they're also going abroad for international games.
Oh, now I see it. Sorry, Solly March has scored. Now I see it. I was like 25 seconds behind you. Okay.
Yeah,
Who had that assist?
I think it's Mitoma. Yeah, it's Mitoma.
Yeah, okay, yeah, Mitoma.
It's good
Shit.
strike as well. There we go.
Yeah, reading captain, Mitoma, reading captain.
But yeah,
Toney, he never scores when you need him.
but in terms of the international break, that's the thing with all the 3 Brighton players. It's kind of a slight worry, but I still think they're all going to play because I think they're on private jets. They're going to be doing fine. The jet lag is the only problem, but they still have like 3 or 4 days, I think, to recover.
Yeah.
And even still, if they don't play against Brentford, it's the second fixture against Bournemouth that is the most important fixture to have Brighton players. So I wouldn't worry too much about that thing. That's why I have 3 Brighton players still, even though their fixtures aren't the best. So I thought about not having them, but it's more a long-term thing. I think all 3 players, 3 Brighton players, you can have for the entirety of the season, and they'll just have double game weeks all the time. So I think these 3 are the best Brighton players, even though Solly March just scored. I still think these 3 are the best Brighton options. I think McAllister especially is like the main guy to have from Brighton. So yeah, they make a lot of sense for me. But apart from that, there are a lot of other picks I know that you've praised before. So apart from Cash, is there anyone else that you wouldn't have in your squad, or do you think the rest?
I would gamble on Watkins or Isak instead of Havertz. For sure, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I like Maddison, I like Rashford, I like Martinelli, Kane, Toney. Yeah,
this thing with Toney
it's really up and down. Yeah,
it's interesting with Toney. He has a couple of minutes now to prove himself in the Southampton game, but Toney, if he blanks now against Southampton, what is your thinking going forward with him as well? Like most people are selling him and giving 30 when he plays Newcastle and getting back to Haaland. Is that your thought as well, or?
Yeah, me too. I'll wait and see because you never know. He can score against the big teams. He loves scoring against City and Liverpool and so on. So the game at United depends on how poor United defense at the time and so on. But there are so many options right now for a striker, so you can easily swap him. I don't care about the double game week anymore. For me. So. But I like Botman, by the way. The last game week, he was playing so high and he missed a chance at the last.
Yeah, it's a huge chance.
But it's good that he missed it so you can pick him without having a high ownership. So
yeah, I think Botman is just such a safe pick. Like it costs so little, and Newcastle are such a good defense, and they just have fixtures all around. And should be noted that the Game Week 31 fixture, the final fixture, see Aston Villa for them and Chelsea for Brighton. they might face each other as a double game week there, Brighton and Newcastle. So that's also why you kind of want to have Botman just to be on your bench, to be someone you can put into your squad if you need him. But I think a lot of people will be struggling with two good benches now. Like their benches will be too good, like we just saw in this game week.
Yeah.
So,
but that's a luxury problem.
It's a luxury problem, but that's why it's sort of nice to just have someone like Botman that you can easily just bench. Because, at most likely he's going to get like a clean sheet and potentially a bonus point or two. But you can easily bench him without getting huge damage towards you.
But going forward, I think it would be perfect for me to have Trippier and Botman in the last few game weeks, just because they're going one tight, 1-0, 2-0, and then try as much as possible to give a clean sheet. So it would be good to have double Newcastle player at one of the games.
Yep.
Against Villa, for example, in 5 weeks from now.
But yeah, speaking of what we're going to do in the future, let's look at our future plans. And starting with you, because you're the number one pick this week. And it says transfers made 3. You've only made one of them, but you're 95% sure you're going to do the other one.
And so it was assist for Solly March and Estupinian. Oh, sorry for that. Oh, almost. Probably you've seen it before me. You're like 10 seconds.
I think I was talking, so I wasn't watching, but yeah.
It was a huge chance from Brighton. It's still on, but yeah, it was assist from Solly March right in the 6-box yard, and a nice shot, but it was blocked. Now I should work as a commentator. And I would definitely prefer to do it in Arabic. You know how good it is. My future plans.
So yeah, like I mentioned, you've already done the Kane transfer.
Absolutely.
Right? You sold Haaland for Kane.
Not hesitant.
The other two you're still waiting on?
I'm just waiting for. I cannot do Chilwell without doing Salah, so I have to wait. Instead of having someone who's injured, especially Maddison, he was playing with an injury, according to Brendan Rodgers, for the last few game weeks, and he even said he didn't complain to me. He's the one who's playing, so you never know what's his status. So for me, Salah is no go anymore. It's not about Salah as a player. It's about
the fixtures.
I told you in the last episode that even though they won 7-0 against United, I don't think they're gonna score so many goals in the next game, even though it's against Bournemouth.
Yeah.
So I kind of expected their instability, and it's so random the way they play football these days. So it's for me logical to have Maddison. I think having Maddison with a low ownership against Brentford, who are leaky away, they want to finish the season in a better place than the bottom 3. So I think Maddison tend to do so well in the last 2 seasons, at least in the last 10 game week. So what do you think? Would you do otherwise? Salah to someone else?
I think your moves make a whole lot of sense. Like I think those 3 guys, Chilwell, Maddison, and Kane, are like some of the main players to have currently. So I think your transfers look perfect, really. The only thing is if you want to do another hit for swapping out Felix for someone else potentially, or potentially Tarkovsky to someone else defensive wise, but I can't really see which defenders you'd need anyway. So
he can score from a corner. That's the thing. He can score against.
Yeah, but I think I've seen a lot of people sell Estepinian, and I would not do that personally. I think he's still a great option. I don't think you should go with 3 Brighton midfielders, because there are so many good midfielders you want to own eventually in the game. So I still think you should stick with 2 Brighton midfielders.
Yeah. I think actually in the midfield towards the end of the season, it's where you can be differential.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to be differential by a defender. We're not living in the era of Alonso anymore. So I think this is where you can have a differential pick in the midfield and the attack. So I wouldn't fill it with 3 Brighton players. Yeah. And it's not always a good idea to have a double game week there. We've seen with Toney and Henry.
Yeah. So, my suggestion is if you have 3 Brighton players and you don't have McAllister, I would sell one of the other midfielders this week when they have a blank. Fill in with someone who plays 2 games, like someone like Maddison who plays and then has 2 games, and then next week you sell one of your Arsenal midfielders and buy McAllister back. That's what I would do if I didn't have McAllister, and I don't have McAllister, but I still have an open Brighton spot, so I don't have to sell any of my Brighton players. So, but yeah, speaking of my own plans, let's move on to
just one thing about my team. I think I'm gonna captain Kane.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Of course, captaincy. I was getting to that as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you think you're gonna captain Kane over Saka? Is that the only two players you're considering, or is it someone else?
Yeah, I think knowing that it's a derby, I wouldn't trust Palace against Arsenal. They would try to stop Arsenal from winning the league. I think so.
Okay.
So Kane against Southampton, we've spoken about it in the previous slides about make the case and how good his record against Southampton. So yeah, it's between Toney, Kane, maybe Maddison, but yeah, most probably I'll go for Kane. I think so.
Okay. Because the thing about Southampton recently is that they've kept a lot of clean sheets and they've been pretty good defensively.
Yeah, and Spurs are shit in terms of ability.
You never know in terms of Spurs who's going to show up or not.
Yeah, I'll see what happened with the game now, like Brighton against Southampton. So yeah, so that will decide much.
Yeah. I've gone with Martinelli as myself as captain. I'm leaning towards Martinelli. It's also because he's sort of a differential. I just want to go with someone different as well. Yeah. I think he's just looked so good for Arsenal lately, and Nketiah's out for a few weeks now, and Jesus just came back, played 10 minutes. He's not going to play, so Martinelli's going to play as a striker, and he's going to play close to 90 minutes, I'm pretty sure as well. So I think he's just a great option. Palace are a really bad team. Like, they haven't conceded that many goals lately, but they did concede.
But they are poor.
They did concede 4 goals against Spurs earlier in the season, so they definitely have it in them. And Arsenal have shown that they can put 3 or 4 goals past any team. Yeah. Like, they faced Brighton after the World Cup break as well and destroyed them 4-2. Had a lot of goals against them as well. Like, they can score against anyone, and I just want to back an Arsenal player, and I don't think Saka has been that impressive. I only recently got him on my wildcard. I hadn't had him in my team before then, and I just feel like Ødegaard and Martinelli are superior picks, to be honest, because they're cheaper.
Yeah, I think they are poor. Palace in the defense, so but it's a derby again. I don't know. It's a home game.
Maybe, but Palace against Spurs was a derby as well when it was 4-0 to Spurs.
Yeah. Coming out of a huge win would give them a boost, I think, but. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think you're right. Martinelli makes more sense. He's a better form in Arsenal, so
yeah. But speaking about my potential moves, I have a striker option decision to do, either Havertz or Isak. You're trying to convince me to get Isak, and I think I might actually be persuaded by you and by Kevin picking him as well. Also because of the money, because I've looked into future game weeks, like I said, and I really need the money. Yeah. And that also, I want to bring in Chilwell. That's like a given. I want to have Chilwell. It's just a matter of my budget. Do I need to sell Gabriel or do I need to sell Henry? And that's what I got to decide as well, because obviously Henry is cheaper, and Gabriel also has a single game week in game week 29, and he has a poor game week and game week 30 as well against Liverpool away. So I got to weigh up the options, but obviously this week he plays Crystal Palace at home. I think that's a really good fixture for Gabriel actually. So I don't want to sell him this week. So
yeah, I would sell Henry. I think so.
Yeah, I'm actually leaning towards like a mixture of these two. I think you would approve of that, of doing Haaland to Isak and Henry to Chilwell. That's currently what I'm leaning towards, even though it doesn't say that on the right. I have the transfers jumble up there, but I think that's the way I'm going to go. And other than that, I think my team looks really good considering it's a huge blank game week. Like I said, I only have 2 Brighton players, so I don't have the third guy on the bench on top of Rashford, so I can actually field the full 11 when I sell Haaland. So I'm pretty happy about that as well. So I think I'm going to go with Isak as a differential to all the Watkins picks and just hope that he plays a lot of minutes, really. So yeah, really happy with my team. Not that happy with my goalkeeper. I brought in Raya last week, and you said that I shouldn't do that, so yeah. Hats off to you, because
he's giving a clean sheet so far. So
he is, but
maybe he'll prove me wrong. The good thing about him, he always makes saves, but I'm not convinced. I think Southampton might score, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, and my other option was going for Kepa, and I really wish I had done that because he's also slightly cheaper as well. So yeah, but that's my team. Let's move on to Kevin's team, and Kevin's not here to talk about his team, but I also asked him about his moves, and one of his moves, like you, he wants to do Salah to Maddison. And also with the news now today, I think in the press conference today, Steve Cooper said that Brendan Johnson is most likely not going to play this week. Kevin was already unhappy with Johnson anyway. So it just makes a lot of sense for him to sell Johnson and buy Isak, his fellow Swedish countryman, and back him. So do you back these transfers, or do you think there's something else Kevin should do?
100%. It's very natural. Salah to Madison, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Pretty popular, I think, to bring Madison. Even though still he has a very low ownership. I hope he stays the same just for the majority, not to buy him. But yeah, Isak is, or Watkins. It's up to him to decide. But he's Swedish. He's gonna back his man. So I think you would just hope that Isak will score against Nottingham Forest. And Watkins can be quiet, but. It makes all the sense for me. But the captain, is he going to captain Saka?
That's what he said to me. I asked him about captaincy, and I asked him only about Kane versus Saka, but I think he's going to back Saka. He's been the biggest Saka fan out of all three of us this whole season. So
don't ask a sick man about his captain. He's sick. We don't trust him.
That's true. He has a sore throat from doing something last night. But anyways, Saka. He's a decent. He's like a really template pick for captain, even though it seems like a lot of people are going with Kane now. So it's just really interesting. But I'm just gonna stick with Martinelli myself, and potentially I think both Maddison and Chilwell are decent alternatives. Even Toney as well, depending on what he does against Southampton. But I still think Arsenal is the way to go because they're just so good, and a lot of people are like not losing faith in Arsenal, but they're selling Arsenal because of the bad fixtures and no double game weeks and stuff. But you might have to reconsider that because Arsenal can score 3 goals against anyone.
Yeah.
But anyways, that is our current plans, everything that you'd like to know. And we've talked about pretty much everything we need to in this podcast. So we're at the end, and we both want to watch.
It's going to be interesting the next week with so many of free hittings, and let's see if it was an outcome for them to free hit or something. But we actually should have had like a free hit slide, but probably in the next time 32 do something. Yeah,
we can actually make one together and post it on Twitter as well. But I watched a couple because a lot of content creators have made free hit teams, and out of the ones I've seen, I think FPL Focal has the team that is closest to what I would go with. He had double Chelsea defense, James and Chilwell. I think that's a huge thing to go with. I think Son or Richarlison, you should punt on one of those guys. Pedro Porro, like you said, is also a great pick.
Yeah.
And goalkeeper, just have fun and go with someone like DB Martinez if you don't want to go with Kepa, if you want to have other Chelsea players. Sterling is also someone you could potentially give like a 1-week punt. That's, at least for me, in terms of free hits, I really like the fact that you can just bring in a guy for 1 game week and you don't have to think about him ever again, and just go with someone like Sterling who scores 2 goals every now and then, and just then isn't that good of an option on the game weeks.
He's very selfish, isn't he?
Yeah. So I think those types of guys are the ones you should target. But we can definitely make like a free team between the 3 of us and post it on Twitter, on our Twitter profile. We talked between us that we should be more engaged on Twitter as well, and definitely want to go ahead and do that. On that note, it's also really nice to see a lot of people are starting to comment on the YouTube videos we have. A lot of supportive comments, a lot of like, what should I do with my team comments, and it's very much appreciated. And it's super fun to engage and talk with you about your teams and stuff. So keep doing that. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that stuff. Subscribe to us or follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and join our mini league. And the league code is 6IYV7U. As always, and usually I give this last word to Kevin, but since he's not here, I'm just going to wish him well. I hope you're feeling better soon, Kevin. It's just a sore throat, so I'm sure it's going to be fine eventually. But thoughts go out to Kevin, and hope that he returns nice and fit. We do appreciate him here on the podcast, and we miss him. Definitely.
And Brentford has scored, so I'm not sure who scored for Brentford.
That'll be the final cliffhanger then before.
Is it the man, please?
You guys will know.
Toney!
Yes, that's our captain. Finally, that's a great way to end the episode. So
good way. Toney, my man.
Ivan Toney. We never doubted you. We always
we
always
never doubted it.
Beautiful.
Yes,
that's amazing.
Man, he's not out of my team. Never out of my team.
That's the first goal in his hat trick. Just watch.
Okay.
Awesome way to end it.
For me, I want to watch the Real Madrid-Liverpool game. It's going to be interesting to see.
Same thing as well. I'm going to watch all the games now. So thank you and good night.
Good night. Bye-bye.